What's up, everybody? Man, I got so much to talk about. Married to Medicine, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and The Real Housewives of Potomac. So, let's just get started. Hit it! I thank you guys so much for tuning in yet again to an all new episode. And let's just say, every single time I do this, I get more and more and more excited. I get more and more pumped up. So, and let me also not forget my lovely co-host, Solo. Who is always serving some real good tea. And speaking of good tea, man, let's just jump right into our lovely hot topics because I cannot wait to get all this out to you guys. Married to Medicine is back and I am so excited. I just felt like we've been missing, some good shows, and I feel like Married to Medicine was one of them. So it's good to see that they are back, and the first episode, they did not disappoint. Let me just say that. Dr. Whitmore, Simone, and her husband Cecil decided to, kick things off by having a somewhat of like a Freaknik, what they used to do back in Atlanta. And I used to hear so much about that, but, I was just a child then, so, all I did was just hear stories, of course, but it would have been nice to have attended at least one Freaknik. But needless to say, Simone and Cecil decided to put together their own version of Freaknik, which is what they call a Whitnik, and it was so good how they had everything put together. I mean, they really went all the way back, like, to the early 90s, and it felt so surreal, like I almost, took myself back back in time. But I truly love how they went all out, like as far as like the costumes. I mean, they took it all the way back, and I really liked what I saw. But yet again, it seems that Simone and Quad are still not on good terms, which is kind of weird to me because, I mean, given last season and given the reunion, I thought, Quad had pretty much made amends and she had made up with, all the ladies, but come to find out, her and Simone are still not on good terms. And I'm wondering, like, why is that? Like, why can they never seem to get on the right track? And sometimes, I have to, take a deeper dive into things. And, one thing that I did gather is that it seems like when it comes to Quad, I mean, and mind you, Quad has been on the platform of Married to Medicine since day one. So, we all love some Miss Quad. But to me, I feel like what Dr. Simone is trying to project onto everyone is the fact that Quad doesn't present herself as a friend when it comes to the show. And the show is all about their camaraderie. It's all about them being together. It's all about their friendships, embracing their friendships and one another. And I feel like Simone looks at it as if Quad only demonstrates that when the cameras are rolling, and when the cameras stop, Quad is almost as if she doesn't know who the ladies are. And I think that is what Dr. Simone has an issue with. And I don't know if she's kind of alluded to that or if she's pretty much just come right out and said it, but it seems like that's where the problem lies. And honestly, if I was, someone, filming, I would feel the exact same way. I want you to be as authentic on the camera as you would be off the camera. And, I feel like when the cameras when the cameras are up and, they're rolling all in your face or what have you, if you're only there just for a show, and then once, the cameras are away, I don't hear from you again. Like, I do feel some sort of way about that. So I think that's where Dr. Simone has her issues with Quad, and I think that's why they can never get over this hump that they continuously have, and it's starting to become a bigger situation than what we had imagined. And I mean, who's to know if it's ever going to be resolved at this point? Because even them putting together the with Nick, Dr. Simone didn't even have in mind to invite Quad. So yet again, it almost feels like, last season when they wanted to leave Quad out of, their activities, the things that they were doing together. And I'm hoping it's not going to be this way this season. But one thing I will say is this. I did like, when I saw first episode, I did like the fact that Cecil jumped in. And, this is what I call... It was very heroic, so to speak, because you can tell that Cecil didn't want to see a repeat of what's been happening from season to season, and I know that he knows deep down inside there is a friendship there, and I feel the same way too. Honestly, I mean, me as a viewer, me on the outside looking in, I feel like there's a genuine friendship there. But I feel like also too, when it comes to Quad, that she really doesn't know how to allow a person in. And sometimes that can be that the fact that Quad is that way sometimes can cause a hindrance when it comes to relationships, friendships, what have you. And I feel like Quad she has a wall up for whatever reason. I have no idea, but I feel like Quad is afraid to, tear down the walls, because I don't know if she really knows what she's gonna get, or I feel like she doesn't want to open up too much. She doesn't want to divulge any information that could possibly be used against her. I don't know what the situation is, but for whatever reason, Quad is she does have a wall that's built up, and it's not just with Dr. Simone. You can tell that she is that way with all the other ladies, and I feel like, though, even though she's pleaded that she will be a different person, she has apologized to each and every one of them, you can still tell that, the wall is still there. So, again, hence the roadblock that, Dr. Simone is having with her. But, again, it's good to see that Cecil did invite. He actually, went to Quad, sat down with her. And I'm not even going to say that there was any malicious intent behind that. He did that because he truly wanted to see the camaraderie, with the ladies again, Like, it's one thing I will say about Married to Medicine is when you watch that show is all about their togetherness. I mean, regardless of whether they are, bickering, whether they are having fights, arguments, what have you, it's always about the togetherness. And not even just with the ladies, but amongst the couples, So I feel like Cecil feels like he wants to have, Quad to have some inclusion, with their dynamic, and he doesn't want that to change. So I commend him for doing that. Now, I see that Dr. Contessa is back, and it appears that she's back as a friend to the show, which is still good. I mean, it's good to see that she's back on the platform, but I'm just wondering how things are going to turn out, because you keep in mind that the last season that she was on, it really wasn't good between her and Heavenly. It seemed like they didn't have any type of resolution to the issues they were having. So it's good to see, that unfold, that storyline between the two of them, to see exactly what's going to happen throughout the season. But one thing I will say that I saw, which was towards the end of the show, was the ongoing feud between Dr. Heavenly and Letitia. Sweet Tea. Even at the last reunion, they were, tit for tat, going back and forth. And it's really starting to, really reach a peak. And it seems like, it's going to be where the husbands are going to have to jump in, and it may not be pretty. So I'm just hoping that they can come to a resolution. But look, when it comes to Dr. Heavenly, we all know that she's stubborn. We all know that she's big-headed. We all know that she's going to say whatever she wants to say out of the sun, moon, and stars. She going to cuss you out, and she going to end with your mama. She always do that. But, we got to love Dr. Heavenly, because one thing I will say, when it comes to the dynamic of the ladies, Dr. Heavenly will always, and I mean always, bring the drama. So, even though, I don't like the friction between Heavenly and Sweet Tea and Dr. G, I want that to, I really wish they can, resolve those issues. But Lord, we already know when Dr. Heavenly is on the warpath with someone, it is going to linger and linger on and on throughout the season. But again, hey, that's what keeps us tuned in. That's what we want to watch. That's what we want to see, the drama. But I hope they can come to a resolution. But from what I saw, they are long ways from resolving their issues. So I guess we can just pray for them. But Married to Medicine, even just looking at the trailer, it looks like it is going to be a doozy. And keep in mind, a few episodes back, I had spoke about Married to Medicine. And, as the season furthers, there is going to be some drama, and it seems like it's going to lean towards Phaedra's way. It's going to be some issues between Apollo and his wife against Phaedra and I guess her quote-unquote boyfriend. So I can't wait to see exactly how that unfolds. But whatever the situation is, it's going to cause Phaedra to bow out. She's going to leave that platform, and she'll be reintroduced to a whole nother platform, which I can't wait to start talking about that. Look, speaking of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. See, we keep going all the way back. So I don't know if you guys remember a few episodes ago of my show. I spoke of how I feel that they should allow the storyline to play out with Kenya. And according to my sources, it appears that Andy has alluded to Kenya is going to appear. She is going to be on season 16 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And that's what we want. Like, again, even though things did not end good for her, but we still want to see the drama unfold. Like, there's nothing like a good reality show. In real time, we hear about what's going on, but it's much more interesting. Popcorn, sweet tea, and all, to see the drama unfold. So it's good that they're going to allow Kenya to, still be on, and to see exactly, what transpires leading up to the incident that's going to happen at her day spa. But also, they've been giving teasers out the wazoo, so I'm grateful for what I'm seeing for this fall for these shows that are coming out. But of course, we know Real Housewives of Atlanta won't appear until 2025, which is right around the corner. So it'll be here pretty soon. But they gave us a teaser of Portia, and how she's pretty much going through this divorce between her soon-to-be ex-husband Simon, and the fact that he pretty much filed for her not to film in the house that they both share together. And you know, I get, you know, when you guys are, when there is a separation or a divorce, there are bound to be issues. There are bound to be things that are, you know, you guys are gonna want to do this back and forth, tit for tat. I get that, but you know, it's like, dang, you know, don't play with a sister's, you know, bread, and don't play with a brother's bread. You know, like, still allow them to make their money, but you know, if y'all are separated, you know, you doing your own thing, she doing her own thing, and until everything has been finalized, assets have been sought out, whatever which way. I mean, just allow things to be. But I mean, of course, we already know that when you are in a divorce, 9 times out of 10, things won't be amicable. It's always going to be some sort of feud. They, or you know, one the spouse is going to feel like they deserve this, and more so over the other spouse, and it's just a big ordeal. Which is probably why I be afraid of, you know, wanting to get married, just because I see how these relationships, they start so perfect and beautiful, and with such marital bliss, and then all of a sudden, I mean, they are each other's worst enemies. And I don't even understand how they get up to that point. Like, I don't understand, like, if you in a relationship, why can't you guys end how you came in? Because to me, I always feel like it should start friends first. So if you start friends first, if you guys do begin to see things differently in the relationship or what have you, end it with being friends. You know, like, you don't have to go through all the craziness. Like, life is too short for all of that. But I digress. So yeah, Porsha, it shows a clip of Porsha. She's going to speak to her lawyer on trying to figure out a way around this loophole of what Simon is throwing out, which is preventing her to be able to film in the home. And hopefully, you know, she'll be able to work things out, and you know, hopefully we'll be able to see more of Porsha filming in the home. And but I will say, you know, look, that's the drama that we're wanting to see. So it seems like Porsha's gonna have a lot of drama on her end. So to be continued on that. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I feel like it to me, it was almost like they too have kind of done like a little makeover to this franchise, and I like what I see thus far. Especially the fact that it seems like it's gonna be a lot of rifts within relationships, and I don't know, man. It seems like everyone is against Kyle, but I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say I'm not pleased to see it. I'm not gonna say I am pleased to see it. But what I am gonna say is, it is time for Kyle to receive a challenge. I feel like in every season, Kyle has always played it safe, and with a viewer, a commentator more so, it can be very frustrating when you have someone that is always wanting to play it safe, always wanting to be neutral. See, one of the reasons why I love Garcelle is because she's not afraid to speak her mind. She's not afraid to say things that may, you know, ruffle feathers, that may get you riled up. That's what we want to see, you know? Like, when you play it safe every single time because you're wanting to tiptoe on someone's feelings, you're not wanting someone to pop off on you because you really don't know how to pop off right back. So you want to be very delicate with each situation. Sometimes we can get very tired of you know, seeing that persona within that individual on the show, and I feel like that's what Kyle upholds. Like, she always wants to play it safe. So I feel like this season the ladies are really giving her a run for her money, and so much so, I mean, it seems like she may just I'm not gonna say if this is gonna be her last season. I'm not gonna say maybe she feels as if she is done with Housewives, but I mean, it seems like she may bow out. I mean, I don't know, but from what I see thus far, it appears that her and Dorit are not in a good place. First episode was good, by the way. I really loved it. I don't know exactly how many. I don't know what the ratings were like, but I mean, I will say, in my opinion, I feel like it was a really good show. I liked what I saw. It seemed very fresh. The fact that Sutton has her friend Jennifer Tilly on there, and let me just say, she seems like she is a hoot. She seems like she is so fun to be around, and I love her spirit. It seems like when she comes around, she brings very good energy, and I feel like that's what the ladies need within the dynamic. You need someone that's gonna steer the pot, but you also need someone that is going to like be fun and always wanting to have a good time. And needless to say, Kathy is almost that same way too. Now, Kathy does have a little quirky side to her. Sometimes she can seem like she is like in her own world at times, and then all of a sudden you can just snap your fingers, and then that's when she comes back into the situation. I love her dynamic as well, but I feel as if when it comes to Dorit, look, Dorit is long-winded Dorit. I feel like this season we're gonna see the Dorit that we've always wanted to see. See, she too was another individual who was always trying to play it safe, and I feel like because the dynamic has been broken ever since Lisa Rinna was not asked to come back to the show. I feel like when it came to Kyle, Erica Jane, Dorit, and Lisa Rinna, I feel like they had that bond, and I feel like they tried to find every way humanly possible to keep that bond together, and they were against all the other ladies. Well, now that you take away the nucleus or the cancer, which is what I considered Lisa Rinna to be, you take her away, now you see a true dynamics within the relationships. And look, if that's what it takes for everyone to be authentic, then hey, by all means, I'm grateful they did what they did. But I say all that because within this season, I feel like Dorit has finally found her voice. And I feel like she's not going to stop until people know, how she really feels. The fact that, her and Kyle are at odds right now, yeah, it's not good. But, I mean, I like to see this type of Dorit so we can see exactly what's on your mind, as opposed to, you guys getting together and saying, okay, this scene, make sure you don't say this, or make sure, because sometimes I do feel like that. I feel like, sometimes before certain scenes, they kind of prep each other just to make sure certain things aren't said, so that way they won't have to be put on the spot. I do feel like that. So I feel like because of the break of the dynamic, we're now going to begin to see true authenticity when it comes to these ladies. And needless to say, the newest housewife, Bose, who is also a friend of Sutton. I see Sutton is bringing all her people, but I like that because she too is authentic. I like what I see. People can say, what they want about Sutton. I feel like Sutton is, she's a good asset to the Beverly Hills franchise. And look, the dynamics that she attracts, like, Garcelle, Jennifer Tilly, Bose, like, she is bringing, she has some really good people, onto the platform that is really making the platform. I'm not gonna lie, for a while I was beginning to fizzle out when it came to Beverly Hills, but me seeing the trailer of, this season, I feel like it's going to be worth watching. So I'm going to be tuned into every single episode, and I can't wait to, give you guys more commentary, because it seems like it's really going to be a doozy. So more to come on that. Stay tuned. Woo, you guys. Okay. We all know I love me some Potomac. I'm not going to lie to you. Whole ordeal between Mia and Gordon and Ink, it's so crazy. And I'm gonna tell you what's more crazy. It's more crazy because he has he's a radio personality, right? Ink, aka Incognito. And I listen to him every night. He's on the radio on our station here in Dallas, Texas. He's on 97.9 The Beat. He comes on every night. I want to say starting at 7 o'clock if I'm not mistaken. 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. But when him and his crew comes on, they truly are hilarious. Like, he really is a good radio personality. I'm not gonna lie. I will always give credit to where credit is due. But it's so crazy now, because even before we even knew who Mia's, I don't want to call him side piece, but before we knew the guy that Mia was talking to was. And fast forward, now we know it's him, and not only that, now I'm seeing him, as he's making his appearances on the show, and then I'm hearing him, on the radio. It's crazy. I feel like I need to meet him, though. I feel like I need to meet him. I feel like I need to I have a lot of questions for him, so I'm hoping to, because I want to say the show is nationally syndicated. I believe I want to say the show is shot in Atlanta, but hey, Atlanta is like a second home to me. So when I go there, I need to make sure I link up with him, because I want to interview him. I have a lot of questions for him. But Mia and her situation, it's just like, it is all over the place, and it is so crazy because it as a viewer, as a commentator, it's like I have so many questions, because now, it's like I'm looking at the course of her marriage between her and Gordon, and I kind of feel like Ink was a sneaky link. In Giselle's words, now if you really want to, she was calling Chris a sneaky link last season, but if you really want to call somebody a sneaky link, I think it needs to be Ink. Ink is a sneaky link. I feel like Ink and Mia have never stopped being together. Like, I feel like even when she was married to Gordon, like, she would always find that time to, dip away and be with Ink. And and it seems like, Pillow Talk, of course, they always promised each other that they will actually, be together again and make it public. And, and what more to do so than, to be on a nationally syndicated show like The Real Housewives of Potomac. But I feel like as Mia's story unfolds, even though Mia is also somewhat long-winded when she tells her stories, but I feel like Mia is missing out a lot of pieces for us, and she has this puzzle that, she has put out in front of us, dumped it out with nothing but, thousands of pieces, and she's wanting us to piece everything together so we can understand exactly her timeline, while she was married with Gordon. But I'm sorry, but it doesn't make her look good when I watch her scenes, and I feel like it could be one of the reasons why Gordon is the way that he is. I feel like, he has taken all that he could take, and I feel like he also did a lot for Mia. And it's one of those things that sometimes after a while you have to stop and think and ask yourself, like, did you really do you really love me for me, or do you really love me for, you know, what I'm able to do for you? And it's a reason why his mental is the way that it is. Yeah, you know, the fact that he is battling bipolarism, it's really sad and it's really unfortunate. But at the same time, like, you know, Mia's actions is not really helping his situation, even though she may think otherwise. But in all honesty, I don't feel like it's really helping the situation at all. And again, I did. Let me also say this: in watching Potomac, Gizelle. Gizelle, when I tell you she is really redeeming this Gizelle that I'm seeing also, because now this is the time that Gizelle needs to, you know, really be Gizelle and really pry and get into a situation, be nosy. She's doing the right thing with her. I feel like she's going to be the one that's going to really grill Mia. I feel like she's going to be the one that's going to back Mia into corners, and Mia is going to have a lot of answers based on the questions that Gizelle is going to bring to her. This is just how I feel. But I'm liking this Gizelle because this is the Gizelle that I've always wanted to see. Not that messy Gizelle, not the Gizelle that's always thinking of, you know, what storyline and plot that, you know, we're going to come up with to make the franchise juicy. But this authenticity I'm seeing with Gizelle is exactly what I've always wanted to see, and rightfully so, because Mia does have a lot of answers. There's a lot of questions that she needs to answer. I will say that. And the fact that the season is just pretty much heating up, and they just showed a mid-season trailer, and it seems like it's just look, it's just heating up even more just looking at that. So there is more to come, and I cannot wait to see the remainder of the season of The Real Housewives of Potomac. Now that truly was a lot, you guys, but that's all I have time for today. Look, holiday season, it's Thanksgiving, and you know, I'm really gonna there's a lot, you know, to be thankful for. And to be perfectly honest, I'm gonna say that, you know, I can't believe that, you know, we only have just one more month until, you know, the end of the year. And I'm really thankful for that God has allowed me to get through this year. I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, lie to you. You know, there has been, you know, ups and downs, and you know, it's pretty typical in anyone's life, as long as you live, of course. But I'm always thankful and grateful for the good things as opposed to the bad things. And when the bad things do occur, I look at that as learning experiences, only to lift me up and make me stronger. So to me, I just have to say that I'm thankful for me being able to, you know, continue within my journey. I'm thankful for the little things, you know. A lot of people are grateful for, you know, big things, but I'm thankful for the little things, because when the big things do come, it allows me to really appreciate it by way of the little things. So I'm grateful for what has come my way. I'm grateful for the things that are to come, that God has foreseen for me. And I just want to say that you know, if anyone is going through anything out there, you know, just give your praises, give it to God. You know, whatever the situation may be, whatever the issues may be, you know, just stop and just give it all to God, because at the end of the day, I feel like He's the only one that's going to truly listen. He's the only one that's going to hear you, and He's the only one that's going to be able to step in to be able to solve whatever issues, problems, and situations you may be going through. I thank you guys so much for always watching. Please make sure that you tune in. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, make sure that you watch those episodes too. Until next time, you guys. If you guys want to learn more about me, make sure you go to my social media platforms. You can go to my Instagram page, which is I am Sir Q. That's IMSIRQUE. And make sure you get certified with Sir Q. Thank you guys again for watching. And until next time, I'll see you guys again on an all new episode. Peace.